everybody, Owlvine here. It is a pleasure to see you again. Today I am going to be talking about burnout, more specifically recovery from burnout. I did mention in my last video that I went through a stage of pretty intense burnout. For me, it was related to a lot of the work that I was doing. I was just pouring myself out, battling myself the entire way, right? Because shadows, all the shadows. So I just got absolutely exhausted. I had these huge grand plans and I went pedal to the metal, and then a month later I just landed on my face and just skidded to a stop. Now, I know this is something that a lot of us go through. So whether it's to do with work or our spiritual practice, or our creativity, or, any area, it really can kind of touch any area. Burnout is just that feeling of I can't do anymore, or I don't know what to do, or I feel so overwhelmed. It's just this heavy feeling, and it really sucks when you're in it. And it's really difficult too when you've got goals or things that you want to be doing and you're like, I can't, I don't know how to do this. I have no energy left for this, what to do. So I did take notice of my kind of journey through it this time, because I've been through burnout plenty of times before, and I've always got to that spot and gone, I don't know how to get out of this. And I didn't this time either, but I took note this time for future reference, and so it's something that I could share eventually with you guys. So I did write a couple of notes. I know, look at me writing notes. How exciting is that? That's so hardly ever happens. But I wrote some notes just to kind of keep a little bit, in check, know what we're doing and that kind of thing. When you're feeling burnt out, the first thing you do is take your foot off the pedal. Just stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop trying to push and forge ahead and crawl through the mud and ah! You know how we do that sometimes? That's what I did this previous time, and then the burnout was much worse. So when you're starting to feel burnt out, stop. Stick to the things that you absolutely have to do, and leave the rest. So go, all right, what can I strip down here? What are all the things I can get rid of right now in my life? What are the few things that I absolutely have to do? Okay, I have to cook dinner for my family. I have to drive my kids to school in the morning, and I have to show up to work, right? I don't have to clean. I don't really. I don't have to do all these other things, right? Cut off as much as you can and just give yourself some space. The second thing is to release the guilt. Now, usually, I find in my experience anyway, when you are going through burnout, it comes with so much guilt, because you're feeling like there's all these things that you're supposed to be doing, or all these things that you want to be doing, but you're not doing them, and there's guilt, and there's guilt makes everything so much worse. You cannot get through burnout properly until you release that guilt. Let the guilt go. The guilt will just intensify everything, make it much, much harder to get to a place where you aren't feeling burnt out anymore. It just adds that weight on top of you. So release the guilt. Know that we all go through burnout. We all go through times where we can't do all the things, or we can't do the things that we want, or our goals, or whatever. And that's okay. Be okay with where you're at. Be okay with taking a step back and doing that relaxy thing, stripping back everything that you can, and be okay to sit in that for a little while. Now, this kind of stage will differ for everyone. You've got to kind of go by how you're feeling. Check in with yourself as you're going and ask, am I ready now to take another step? Or do I still need to stay in this space where I'm just kind of doing what I need to and nothing much else? But release that guilt. Guilt has never helped anyone. Now, the next thing is number 3. Oh my God, I have numbers. This is notes are fabulous. They really are. So when you're ready, after you've done the first bit, you're feeling a little bit okay now. Okay, yep, the guilt's gone. We're good. We're just sitting in this here, feeling ready for a little bit more. Add in things that fill your soul. Add in things to your life that fill your soul. Don't add in your goals and your things that you should be doing yet. Literally put things in that are just for you. So for me, what I did at this point is I started to add in new exploration into magic. It was just really soft and gentle, right? It wasn't I need to be doing magic every day. Like, I didn't set any goals like that for myself. It was literally like, I would watch, you know who helped me get through this? All right, the Lady Grave Dancer. She was just, we all know how fabulous she is and how wonderful, and everyone loves watching her, right? So I would watch her channel and then just, you know, listen to her talk, and her family's so much fun, and like, she's just awesome to watch, right? And it was just nice to sort of be in that space. And then I watched some of her videos where she was making different magical things or showing, you know, whatever, how to do things, and I was like, ooh, I might try that. And that was my step in, you know, so I was like, okay, I'll like do a little thing. And that helped me build up, was just kind of like focusing on this thing that felt really nice. There was no pressure there because I wasn't going, I need to be a good witch, or I need to learn all this stuff about I should, blah, blah. No, this is what I feel like doing in this moment. So pursue things that are interests of yours that just interest you in the moment. Don't put pressure on them. If you don't want to do them again tomorrow, that's fine. Do something else that's fun, you know. Watch some random YouTube video about, like, I don't know, whatever you're interested in, cameras or something, and kind of go from there and go, oh, what little activity could I do for myself that feels really nice? That will really help to boost you up. This is like feeding you again. So the first one was like, the first 2 steps, we have to stop. Like, stop all the things. The second is, now we're starting to feed ourselves again. Not for anyone else's sake, not to do with anyone else, but purely for ourselves. Now the next step, number 4, is to ask yourself, what do you want? What do you really want? If this is about, you know, a certain area of life or certain goals, what do you really want? And another important thing to ask is, how much can you actually give of yourself at this time? So for example, let's go with YouTube, right? Say you're making YouTube videos and your goal was like to make a YouTube video every single day, and then you got burnt out, right? And then you've gone through these little steps and you're like, no, I really want to be a YouTuber. I really want to do this regularly. Well, how much can you actually give? Is once a week more reasonable for you? Is once every 2 weeks more reasonable for you? Or is it that you will upload when you kind of feel like it? Like, think about what you want and how much you are willing to give at this moment. And remember that that won't stay the same. For right now, just after you've gone through this little process, you might only have a little bit to give, and that's okay. That won't always be the case, but you can't dive right in and like, all right, you know what, I'm feeling slightly better, let's like pedal to the metal again, you know, because you'll end up in burnout again. Like, it's just kind of the way it happens. You've got to like build up that momentum slowly and find the enjoyment in it, and feel like you're not giving to, like, you're not emptying out. You need to be continuing to fill yourself. So I think point number 3, like adding those things in that feed your soul, is always important. It's always important because you need to feed yourself if you're giving to people, if you're giving out of yourself. If you don't, you end up running on empty, and then we're in burnout territory again. Now, if there's things that you feel you have to do, or if there are certain goals you've set, ask yourself why. Do you really have to do this thing? Do you really want to do this thing? Or is this maybe something a little bit shadowy? You know, is it something that you don't really need to do? So for example, taken from my own life, you know, I'm a mum and a wife, and I'm looking after people and that sort of thing, and there's always a million things to do around the house. Anyone who looks after a house, you know, male, female, whatever, they will know, yes, that is the case. There is always something to do, especially when you live with other people. Oh my God. So you can ask yourself in that moment, well, do I really have to keep the house spick and span all the time? Yes, I really like it when it's like that. Yes, that makes me feel safe. It makes me feel like, you know, I'm achieving things. It makes me feel like I'm a proper woman, you know, whatever it is. Like, there can be these things there. It actually doesn't need to be done. So these things that you have on your goal list, or, you know, your daily goal list, or things that you're going for in life, you know, ask yourself why, and look into what it is about them that you want, and do you really need to do them? Now, if you don't really need to do them, you can still do them, and that's fine. But know where you're at with this. Don't say, I have to mop the floors. No, you don't. All right? Give yourself that breathing space. Stop putting all that pressure, like all these things that we have to do. A lot of them we really don't. Now, the last tip I have is to, tip number 5, is to make foundational changes. Something needs to shift in your life, right? So for me, what this was diet. Okay, I've been very unhealthy for a very long time. My body has been screaming at me to get this shit sorted, right? So one of the things I did was change my diet. Another thing could be sleep. Sleep is also hugely important, right? We want to look at these base things. Another thing can be adding in water. So many of us are dehydrated. And on that note, I feel like I need a massive drink right now. I'm like, so putting in these foundational things, taking care of ourselves, like what can we shift here? Now, another thing I changed for myself, this foundational change, number 5, was how I practice magic, kind of. Like my magic hasn't hugely changed up, but I relaxed into it more. So rather than having that pressure on myself or anything like that, like I've just kind of, and I did mention this in my last video, I started playing with things, and so the way that I'm kind of approaching my magic is a little bit different. So these are things to consider, you know, with your goals in your area of life. What can you change in the foundations? Like how can you approach it differently so it's more healthy for you, so that it feels better for you, so that it doesn't feel so draining and like you're giving so much and trying so hard and it just not getting anywhere. You know, just look at simple little things that you can change in your life. Again, there are no have-tos here, okay? So don't put the pressure on yourself. Oh, I have to change my diet, you know, like I really, really should do that. Stop it. Have it in your head, I want to change my diet. I want to change my diet. Say this to yourself over and over again. I want to change my diet, for example. But there's no pressure to actually do that right now. We're just telling our brain, hey brain, just so you know, I want to do this. And your brain will help you move towards that. That's what I did for quite some time. This is kind of a little bit on a tangent here, but with the diet thing, I wanted to change my diet for months, right? But really in probably the last month before I did, I really sort of stepped up, like I really want to change my diet. I really want to change my diet. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do in terms of diet. Like it's all feeling a bit much. I don't know. But I kept saying to myself, without pressure, I want to change my diet. And then what happened? My friend moved in. He had this particular way of eating that he's trying and is having incredible results. And I was like, hey, I'll give that a go. And it's been amazing. You know, it was like, and universe provides. So change those speaking patterns. No shoulds, no have-tos, want, if it is something that you truly want. So I have number 1 to 5 written down below in the description as well for you guys to check that out. But I hope you found this video helpful. I know burnout is a really tough thing to go through and it feels like, oh my God, how am I ever going to recover from this? So I hope some of these points are helpful to you. I hope some of them resonate with you or inspire you into a great way for you. I would love to hear if anything has like flicked a little switch for you, or how you've gotten yourself out of burnout in the past or are currently working on now, because I know that this can be a theme that comes up quite regularly, you know, in a large group of people. Like people are going through burnout all the time, left, right, and center. So I would love to hear how you're dealing with burnout, if you're going through it, or how you have dealt with it in the past. That would be very interesting to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the very next one, which is coming really soon. Yes, I filmed 2 videos today. So in a few days, I will see you again. All right, guys, I love you so much, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.